Yo, what is up, guys? It's Ken Beast here with another random Reddit readouts. That's right, this week we're going to be reading you a bunch of random Reddit stories. I have a couple nuclear revenge for you, and one that actually will be some relationship advice. If you guys enjoy the content, I want to ask you to please hit that like button. Make sure that you subscribe and, turn on notifications so you can be notified when I drop new videos. I want to thank you guys so much for checking out this video, and I hope you enjoy it. Alright, let's get right on to the first story. Ruined a marriage and my family for revenge. Posted by Why Do You Read Names? So I recently discovered this sub and had a personal story to share. On mobile, so forgive formatting / grammar, etc. Story is several years old. I've always been the black sheep of the family. Cousins grew up to be doctors, professors, creatives, and whatever else. Meanwhile, I've managed to just make a humble, stable passive income through some business decisions. Nothing fancy, but I can afford a 1-bedroom in New York City and live comfortably with that, with a part-time job in a cafe. Everyone in my family, including my own parents, judge me harshly for not pushing myself to do what my cousins do. Especially my one cousin we will call Randy. Think of the stereotypical dude, bro, who got rich thanks to working for his dad. Multiply that by 10 and you've got Randy. Anyway, he always gave me the most shit. And eventually I just tuned him out because I get to enjoy my life with my SO and work part-time and still afford what I want. So cut the bullshit story. Randy has a wife and 2 kids. He also has a mistress. I found this out because one day when I was walking through the city, when I saw him walking down the street with a woman who clearly wasn't his wife, arms around each other, I checked Facebook and saw he had indeed posted about visiting a bagel shop in the city, so he had in the city. I decided to say screw it, let me see how this plays out. I followed them for 5 hours, snapped several photos, one of them going into a hotel together. I held on to these and waited until Christmas that year, about 6 months later. I decided to unceremoniously drop printed photos in front of everyone at the table before dinner and made sure to get his wife to see them. Cue screaming and fighting. I actually got a black eye out of it. It was Randy's dad though who did it, not him. Cue the police. A lot of questioning, my SO and I getting kicked out. We head back home after talking to the cops one last time. The aftermath. Besides Randy's wife and another cousin who hates Randy, my family cut me off entirely for several years. Whatever, even my parents had always expressed disappointment in me for not applying myself so fully, so no real loss here. Randy got divorced, lost full custody of the kids after threatening his ex. Family occasionally tries to guilt me into apologizing, but my response is the same variation of not gonna apologize for outing a cheating and promptly blocked for another few months. SO and Randy's ex-wife are good friends and the kids call me uncle. Nice having a family who actually loves me unconditionally for once. SO and I got married, and that's when my family last tried to get in contact with me, and were actually nice for once. Seeing me move on, I guess, eats at them, I don't know. Maybe realizing their punching bag is gone for good. That's it really, living my best life now with a good family as opposed to a shit one. Edit, first thanks for the support and awards. A bunch of y'all seem to think being abused is not traumatic or bad, as several comments seem to be saying, wow, you're a bad person for having a negative reaction to abuse and not handling it like a golden human being. So I'll clarify. Comments about my wasted potential weren't just, oh, your cousin's a doctor, what about you? They were, I can't believe Randy just sealed a deal for X amount of dollars. Are you still working at that shitty cafe? Are you still saying what's her name? Are you still seeing what's her name? Yeah, there goes the grammar. The girl with the pudgy stomach? Oh gosh. Aren't you ever gonna do anything with your life? I'd feel so worthless living like that. Those are the nicer ones. The worser ones include being told that it's better I didn't try as I wouldn't amount to anything, and other such things along those lines, as I really don't care to remember the more toxic lines. I'm not interested in judgment, so post on Alta threads if you want to say your piece about that, but I mean, I wasn't an abuse victim and wasn't treated horribly by my family, just because I didn't spell out the nitty-gritty details. The worst ones include being told that it's better I didn't try and I wouldn't amount to anything, and other such things along those lines, as I really don't care to remember the more toxic ones. Oh my gosh, man, you telling me you followed your cousin for a whole 5 hours, bruh? Just to get some pictures and blow it up 6 months later? You got a penchant for them queens, bro. What you mean? Nah, don't take his money. I mean, I take his money and then also out him, but I felt like that would just piss off the family a little bit more. Alright, on to the next story. This next story is called How a Friendship Was Broken by Dignified Dingo. This story is 100% true, and I even left in parts that I didn't really want to admit to. I depict violence in the story, so if you have a problem with that, you might not want to read this. I don't know if this story would fit proper in this subreddit, nor if anyone will like it. It is not a story of me at my best, but it is revenge. I was 18 years old in 2001 and just started getting into the party scene. I like the drugs, I like the dance music, I'm an introvert, and I was trying to become social. During this time, I met some friends, John, who became my best friend for a decade, and Brian. At the time, I had just totaled my car, so John would drive for me. We did everything together. He liked the same sports as me, he was very giving, and was down to do all the crazy shit that I would impulsively want to do. As a thanks for him being such a good friend, I would pay for gas and drugs. At the time, I was dealing cocaine and ecstasy, not major dealing, but I usually had drugs, and John would never have to pay for what I gave him. Brian was a rave child, already pretty burnt out from drugs, but he was a lot of fun. Knew lots of people, introduced me to the rave scene. Now I work and was dealing on the side, so I had okay money. I would start paying for Brian to get into clubs and for drugs sometimes. He was kind of a mooch though, so I started cutting him off. Then things started going missing. He stole my expensive sunglasses, he stole drugs, and he stole money from me. He stole from other dealers, and there were people looking for him. I finally cut him out of my life when he stole some ecstasy from me and fed it to a girl so he could fuck her. Now, this girl and I had already hung out 2 weeks, and we made out, but I'm slow to make moves. I'm an introvert and don't have many relationships, but Brian had a beautiful girlfriend who was a part of our friend group and pulls this shit. Alright. A couple weeks later, I see his girlfriend at the bank and say, "Fuck Brian, and just so you know, he cheated on you." She came over to my house to talk about it, and later that night, she and I hooked up. I guess it was a revenge fuck for her just to get back at Brian. I was hoping it would be more than that. Something like a month later, I get a call from Brian saying he heard I'm selling ecstasy and acid and says he wants to buy it. The whole phone call felt off and pretty sure something was up. I told him to come on and stop by and get it. John was with me and had a 45 in his truck. I told him to go get it since this felt off. He grabbed it and stuffed it in his waistband. We waited for Brian to show up. Brian showed up with 2 of his friends. We talked a little bit. He hands me some money for the drugs and I hand him the drugs. Then he brings up he heard I slept with his girlfriend. I told him if he wants to talk about this or handle it, let's go over there and handle it. Just then, one of his friends tackles John to the ground and the other pins me. John is fighting the other guy while my arms are pinned behind me as Brian is punching and kicking me in the face. I had some earrings. He then rips them out of my ears. He also steals the rest of the drugs that I had on me, but leaves the money he just gave me for the drugs he paid for. Freaking idiot. And all 3 of them took off running. I go to pull the 45 from John's waistband, but he blocks me from grabbing it and tells me it's not worth it. I find out the next day the whole reason Brian did that was for a quick fix before he left town. That night he was on his way up through the country to live with his sister. I was livid. I thought about finding out where he was living, driving over there myself with my 38 special. I was so angry it was affecting my sleep and all of my waking moments. For months and months this went on. 10 months later, I'm at a friend's house when there's a knock at the door. I turn around as the door opens and it's Brian. He says, "Is Michael here?" Then notices me and says, "Never mind," slams the door and runs. I find out that he burned all the bridges at his sister's house and had to move back with his parents. A week later, I go to my friend's house and have him call Brian over. John talked me into leaving my gun in the car, and he had a small bat to regulate with. But I told him this was between Brian and I, and told him to stay back unless things go bad for me. Did some coke, gave John some coke, and we were ready to go. The house had a 20-foot walkway to it with railings, and a car was parked at the end of it and had tinted windows. We waited in the car until Brian walked up to the door, and then I charged out of the car and ran at him as fast as I could. "Oh shit," Brian said. "Oh shit, it's right," I said as I smashed him as hard as I could in the face. We fought for a minute, while John stood at the end of the walkway with a bat in his hand. Brian had one good punch on me that I ended up chipping a tooth from. The cocaine made me bite down too hard when he hit me. He then made a run for John, who then punches him in the face. John wasn't having that, so he pulled out the bat and started beating him. Brian fights him for the bat, but John is stronger, rips it out of his hands, and passes it to me. I started beating him with the bat as he fought John. I'll give Brian credit though. I told him to lay down and this will go a lot easier, but he stayed up fighting the whole time. I started wailing into his back and his head and could see the bruises appear on his back as soon as I hit him. He finally went down when I cracked him in the head and fractured his skull. He then went down. And then once he went down, John punted his head like a 50-yard field goal. Brian was done. As he is bleeding on the porch, Brian then asked me if we can be friends again since we are even. I was like, what the fuck? No? He then asked what he has to do so he can leave. I told him to leave his clothes and walk home. You want my clothes? No, I want you to leave them here and go. He stripped to his boxers and walked home on a cold October with snow on the ground. Well, I thought we were dealing with this like they do on the streets. He robs me and beats me, so I beat the fuck out of him. But no, he then goes home to his parents' house. He then calls the cops on me, so the cops come and arrest John and I. So I took much of the blame as I could so John wouldn't go to jail for as long as I did. But he did end up doing some time. I hate jail and prisons. But that night, I was able to sleep knowing Brian was sleeping in the hospital. This story is 20 years old now. Since then, I've never had another friend that takes advantage of me. Brian was the one who taught me a valuable lesson. Don't invite people like that into your life. I dealt with a lot of anger issues back then, but I've never beat another person like this again. And I learned how to handle anger better. I honestly don't like fighting, but I was so good to this friend who just kept taking, and then mugs me? I no longer deal drugs or use them, except for smoking weed. Doesn't stop me from fucking up still though, since this won't be the last time I was arrested. Damn. That freaking ass whooping reminded me of this fight that I witnessed when I was in high school. Bruh, there was this girl. I don't know if y'all ever had this, like, friend in your group that would just hit you or put their hands on you for no reason just because they were, like, outgoing like that. And, you know what I mean. So, me and my boy John, and let's call this girl Trixie or whatever, the one that I'm talking about. We're walking down the street and we'll call this other guy named Jeff. He cuts grass for the neighborhood. We're basically all talking and such, and she goes like right up to him and slaps him in the face. It's just like, hey, how you doing and all that stuff. And I'm just like, first of all, is that like how you say hello to people? Like who did that? Like, did your mama slap the shit out of you when you was a kid? Hey, bitch. But it's sad because she did that, he was so mad. And like I thought, like, cause I heard that they were like messing around with each other, but I don't know. Anyway, she didn't know that Jeff had a girlfriend, right? We're riding the bus the next day, and she's basically talking about, you know, she heard that his girlfriend is looking for her and all that stuff, and like little did she know the girlfriend is in the back of the bus. So she's sitting there and she's like talking. She's like, you know, I beat this girl's ass. I don't care. Like, I'm with it. I ain't scared of nothing. And this girl is just, you know what I'm saying, just taking it all in, hearing it. She stands up, goes and sit like right behind her, and she's like, meet me the moment we get off the bus. Now they get off at the same stop. I don't know if y'all ever been around those bus stop fights, you know what I'm saying? That's where everything went down. Before everybody went home or before everybody went to school, that's what happened at the bus stop. So little did she know that Jeff's girlfriend was taking MMA classes. Bruh, I'm talking about this girl did the whole Liu Kang combo with her fist, bruh. I'm talking about the bicycle kick, you know what I'm saying? Like she went this girl, she got off the bus, right? She's standing there, right? She's taking off her shoes. This girl got one boot off before this girl just leaned her ass. I'm talking about just kept beating the ever-living piss out of this girl. Eventually, like, everybody like kind of like pulled her off because we realized it was really one-sided. And yeah, like she basically shook them off, was like, don't ever touch my man again. And then fatality kicked, I'm talking about field goal punted this girl in the face, bruh. We tried to catch up to her while she was walking home. She had the shoe in her hand. And we're trying to catch up. We trying to like see if she okay, bruh. She just started walking faster, bruh. She didn't show up to school the next day, so we asked her brother. We asked her brother, like, was she okay? And he was like, last night I went to go check on her, and she was sleeping with one eye open. I was like, damn. Oh, good times. Anyway, on to the next story. Alright, so this post was posted by Throwaway Max 3. My 18M stepmom 25F keeps using my girlfriend 17F as a babysitter for my sister 4 whenever we're hanging out. I'm 18, male. My girlfriend Shannon is 17, female. We met because my stepmom Lindsay 25F hired her to babysit for my half sister who's 4. It was never a nannying type situation, just random nights here and there, starting with my sister when she was like 2. Me and my girlfriend had always kind of known each other from school, but never really hung out. We started talking when she'd be over watching my sister, which eventually we started dating, and it's been great since. The issue is that my stepmom seems to think that Shannon is now at her beck and call whenever Shannon's over, which is a lot. She'll just be like, oh Shannon, I'm just running out to get my nails done. You don't mind keeping an eye on Remy, do you? Or if Shannon stays over for a weekend, she'll walk into my room really early and wake up Shannon and be like, oh, I just wanted to run out while she's still sleeping. I'll be right back. And then be gone until 2 or 3. Shannon needs to stick up for herself and say no. But when Lindsay just comes in and doesn't even ask, she just says, oh, you wouldn't mind, would you? She just freezes up and nods her head. Because if she says no, it will be like her saying yes, she does mind watching my sister, which she then thinks gives off the wrong impression. I tried talking to my stepmom about it and she just says don't be silly. Shannon doesn't mind at all. Even when I tell her straight up Shannon doesn't want to be at her beck and call. I mean, she's not her babysitter 24/7. So what ends up happening is whatever plans me and Shannon have get screwed. We just hang out at home. And then when I have to go to work or practice, which is why my mom knows she can't count on me for childcare, Shannon is stuck at my house for hours with my sister. When I found out I was going to have a sibling, I was happy, but I also made it clear I'm not a babysitter. My sister is a really cool kid. We vibe hard. I love hanging out with her, and obviously some of the times we hang out, it's just me and her, like when we go to the park and the movies and shit. But that's not babysitting, that's just hanging with my sister. I tried to talk to my dad and stepmom that except for times when they talk to Shannon about it beforehand, it's not fair to just spring it up on her. Lindsay says that Shannon is agreeing to it, so it's fine. But my point is that the situation is too awkward for Shannon, and it feels like she can't say no. Lindsay keeps saying I'm ridiculous. Hanging out in Shannon's house isn't really an option, for reasons I'm not even going to get in here. So, I mean, I understand what you mean. I would just tell my mom, like, okay, look, either that or you're going to have to start paying Shannon more to be at your beck and call 24/7 because, you know, she needs to be able to have breaks. She needs to be able to have time to herself. And if you're trying to spend some time with your girlfriend, then the least she can do is at least get paid more, or at least be taken care of. First of all, why are you 18 and 17 and she's spending the night at your house? I mean, I get it, you're 18, but that's just awkward. And then on top of that, your stepmom is 25. Go get him, Dad. Yeah, but I mean, to be honest, your stepmom sounds really terrible. Sounds like she doesn't really care for your girlfriend's time, and time is very valuable. Better be willing to cough up that cheddar. Anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I hope that you liked the stories. We had some nuclear revenge, some relationship advice. I feel like, you know, we got a decent little random Reddit readout. You know what I'm saying? I hope you guys have been enjoying the videos anyway. Leave a comment. I will be leaving links to the Reddit in the description. And hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, notification bell. Like I said, if you leave a comment, I will heart it and most likely reply. I want to thank you guys so much for, again, checking out this video. I really appreciate all of you, and I hope you have a great night. Peace.